Yo, 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 what is going on, CoD Familia? It is your boy BN. Today, we are going to be looking at day 3 of a recap from the top KvKs out of the G2, or the main KvK pool, as we all like to really call it. Wink, wink. We have around 10 to 11 groups we're going to look at, starting with 6045, which is the main headline number one slash strongest KvK group. And as always, if you enjoy the content, make sure you throw us down, because that's a lot. Thanks. Okay. Here we go. So if you remember day 1 recap, we were looking, there's 2 main fighting regions here, right? So this matchup is going to be Echo NTS 25IW versus WBA, EIS, and Rage. Now the 2 main matchups are in Chongli, and then we have Yao Quang, which is down south. Now the northern matchup here is going to be Echo and WBA. Now remember, when we did the day 1 recap, as we're on day 3 now, it was pretty much a 50-50. It was kind of stalemated. Now that has been the case so far. This, I think, in my opinion, has been, and maybe by others as well, the most surprising. And I say that because I think anyone that is able to go toe-to-toe with Echo and hold out for multiple days, which, again, they have been fighting consistently. Now, maybe not necessarily as much of high volume over the first 2 days. Again, I haven't had a chance to watch that much on the 3rd day, but I know I have seen fighting that was happening. So we'll see as obviously we get into Zone 3 opening up and continuing onwards. But I think you still got to give some applause and some respect absolutely to WB for holding out. And if anything, maybe not even just for holding out, but being able to kind of go toe-to-toe and at least meet Echo head on. And again, for those of you that have been there, right, let me know how it's been looking for you. Then we go down south as we look at the Rage and the NTS matchup. Now, it's funny because there have been a number of memes that I've been seeing people post on NTS and Rage. And when you look at everything, right, like, and again, I should say, let's go in and look to as well, right? You could see here, there is action happening, right? And oh, wow, I wonder if maybe, because I swear I just looked at this maybe like an hour or 2 ago. So maybe we just missed the southern push, but it looks like they just started again. And now they're applying some pressure here down south on the WB territory there, because before they were focusing on the northern side. So it was more on the bastion up here, and I think on this, or oops, hang on, here, where are we? Here we go. So like right around this area, right, is where we were seeing a lot of fighting that was happening. So now it looks like they're pushing down south. Okay. But when we go and we look at the Rage NTS side, this has kind of been the same. Like there really hasn't been a massive amount of territory gain on one side or the other, right? Now you could see here, there is a flag that's going, or excuse me, it looks like it was going up, but no, it's actually just being distorted a little bit there on the Rage side, and they have some field presence right now, but again, for the most part, nothing is really massively pushing one side or the other. Like it pretty much is stalemated. So again, Rage and NTS are still going hard 50-50. All right, let's go and look at 60-46. Now in this matchup for 46, it's going to be, we got 3 fighting zones here, right? As always, we'll start whichever one is closest to the top and work our way clockwise. This is RFF, BTX, MFD. They're going up against WAO, A2G, and ROG. Now here in Chongli, this is RFF versus WAO. When we last looked at this, it was around 50-50, right? So it's been about 2 days since then, or a day and a half, but basically on the conclusion of the day 3 end. And it looks like on here, right, we got WAO in the blue, HLE, or I should say RFF there in the red. And it looks like they have been able to maybe push up a little bit here to the spire. So let's take a look and see what's going on inside. So, okay, so there we go. So it looks like we got, well, this is really interesting here. Look at all of these names. Doom number 202, 206. Are these just a bunch of like farms, like leveled farms, or maybe bot accounts? And they're just using them to basically fill territory space or save space. This is a very interesting tactic now that I'm really like paying attention and looking at this, because you can actually use this as space filler to hold spots so that way they don't get blocked and you have guaranteed TPs for your teammates to come in, or be a way to fill spaces and maybe have it be areas where people can kind of go in and out and hop in between cities. It just seems like tactically you could probably do some things. Anyways, neither here nor there. WAO is pushing on the RFF territory. They got about 27 minutes on that flag. Let's see, are they pushing any other flags, or is it just that one? Doesn't look like anything up here on the north. Bastion over there. Looks like we're getting a build down there from WAO as well. Okay, so again, applying some pressure there that we can see. in zone 2. And again, it looks like they're now past, now it looks like it's 60-40, right? Maybe 65-35 in favor of WAO. Okay, as we move our way down, next one is going to be Taiyun. Now in this one, it's A2G versus BTX. If you remember, it was 80-20 in favor of BTX in the purple. Now it looks more like it's 90-10 at this point, right? So it looks like BTX pushed at least one side all the way back to the pass, and it looks like maybe okay, so there is some fighting happening here. BTX and A2G, it looks like for the moment at this part, even though there is still some action, you could argue this zone is probably done, right? BTX is most likely going to take the W there. Then let's go to Taihua, which is over here. This is ROG versus MFD. Now, this was 60-40 when we last looked at it. That was in favor of MFD. ROG was a little bit on the backside. Now, let's see how things are going here now. So, ramp, they have level 2 Spire. They're not pushing out. Okay. Looks like some ROG territory has been destroyed. We are, is that a flag going down here from MFD? Okay, so flag going down there. Don't see anything going on this side. Okay, so they're just going to push from that side then, I guess, and maybe destroy some flags. Okay, so maybe this is now a little bit more. Maybe we're looking at like 65-35, maybe actually closer to like a 70-30, I think would probably be fair to say, in favor of ROG, or excuse me, MFD. And yeah, so it looks like they kind of have momentum going into it currently. Let's look at 60-47. Always good to get some high quality H2O if you feels me. All right, for this matchup in 60-47, we have Apex, RAC, and where was my third that we had down for this one as well? Let's see here, 47, Apex, RAC, FWY, and then there's 30 NA, 21 SW, and NWE. Now, there's only 2 areas that are being fought after at the moment, right? So we have KvK, which is going to be here on the eastern, northeastern zone 2. And this is Apex versus 21 SW. Now, if you remember, it was about a 60-40 split that we had. And it looked like it was in favor of the Apex side from what I recall. And if we look now, let's see. Any action happening here at, there's something happening here. Oh, wow. Apex is tearing this one down. And looks like tearing this down. They got, 1% on that. So they got 2 they're destroying right now. They're connected over here. Looks like they're slowly taking one down there. We have some more connections. Looks like some more flag destructions happening. Wow, they're really like multi-hitting flags right now. Okay. And then they got the main force here, 54 minutes on that flag. They got another flag up here. Oh, yo, the homie Ray Cloud and the dude bro. And look, it's a humble midget. 41 minutes left on that. Okay, geez. And they're taking down this flag up here too as well. There's Slurry Poo. Okay, there we go. So yeah, okay. So again, looks like, at least currently, right, momentum in favor of Apex that they have running through that zone 2. Next, we're going to go to Taihua. Now, this is NWE versus RAC. This was about a 65-35 split that we saw. This was in favor of RAC, who's going north, down south, and then NWE there. Now, they had pushed, I believe, around the plateau area when we looked about 2 days ago, but let's see where they're at now. So, bashing on the choke on top of the ramp, nothing happening there. Who's done NWE? We got some NW. Okay, so RAC peeps are over here. Flag taking some hits. Anything happening here? Nothing on the flag there inside the corner. Okay, so they've made a little bit more ground up, and they're connecting the level 4 pass, which again takes them in to the adjacent zone 3. So they've done some work and some flagging. Now it looks like they're just stabilizing, but again, more territory gain. This looks like 75-25, maybe more like 80-20, probably a little bit more appropriate. That's in favor of RAC. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at 60-48. So 60-48, we have for the main matchup here is going to be GG, K211, FG. They're going up against Sleepy Eyes or 3-3, IWV, and OMG. Now we got 3 fights that are going on here. We're going to start with KvK, which is going northeastern for the zone 2. And at the moment, it was 80-20. That was in favor of 3-3, I believe, pushing back GG. You can see GG flag there, some GG. So it looks like they've pushed them out all the way now. and they're not building anymore. So I think this is fair to say, at least at the moment, right? It can be declared that 3-3 has taken the W here on that one. Okay, let's move over to the next one, which I have is Yao Kuang. Now, Yao Kuang or Kuang is going to be IWV versus K211. When we last looked at this, it was a 60-40 split. I believe it was going in favor of IWV, pushing against K211. Let's see how the battlefronts are looking now. So nothing here on the border ridge line. We have the Spire, K211 there. Doesn't look like there's any pushing currently. Looks like they're trying to go up here through the mountain pass choke. IWV there, K211. So a little bit of damage. Looks like they probably have made it a little bit, unless this may be just a build that's still going on and maybe not recovering. But okay, so still some action, right? But they pushed up to the pass. Now it looks more like this is 75-25. Maybe you could argue 80-20, but it's something around there. Clearly, IWV has made up a little bit more territory, right? Momentum advantage still feels like it's in their favor. Now let's go to Swan P, which is going to be the Northwest Zone 2. This is FG versus OMG. When we last looked at this, it was pretty close. I said it was about a 55-45. Now, and again, this is in favor of OMG. Looks like they've pushed up a lot more here on FG. Now, I don't know. Let's see here. Are they pushing on any of the flags closer? No. Okay, so they're maybe just going to try and go for a cutoff, but doesn't look like anything's happening there. They do have a bastion down. Okay. But they're pushing farther south. Are they pushing further deeper on the ramp? They're not. Okay. So not pushing any further, but again, clearly in control of the zone right now. This feels like it's more of an 80-20, maybe 85-15 now, I'd say, in favor of OMG. But again, right, they have momentum at the moment. Let's go to 60-49. Okay. Now for this one, remember, this is the 3v2v1 group. So this is WGL by themselves, NXW and ED together, and then it's BNR, TFS, and Sleepy Eyes. Squiggly Eyes, excuse me, OO. So there is two zones that are seeing action right now. It's we're going to go to Quamo, which is Northeast. This is WGL, right? They opted to go solo, right? When we thought they might have been working with NXW and ED, but something happened, right? And we still might cover that story at a later point, because I actually had asked, and I'd asked questions and got some responses from a number of people, including WGL lead and I think an officer as well. However, let's look at how the Zone 2 is progressing. When we last looked at this, it was about a 50-50. Now NXW looks like pushing on WGL. This now looks like a 60-40, maybe 65-35 in favor of NXW. Let's look at how the battlefronts are playing out. Oh, wow. So they are, I can't tell if this feels like a little bit of running away with it. We got pressure on those two flags. Looks like we got some pressure on that flag. Not on that flag. We got pressure on that flag. Oh, all right, let's see what's happening. Oh, we're going to get a disconnect over here? Ooh, maybe we will. So pressure on this one. Got about 7 minutes hitting that. I think we're doing some building over here. We are. Okay. So if they disconnect this flag, okay, so if they disconnect this flag, then these ones will get disconnected and Behemoth. And it looks like as they're working their way down on these two, yeah, it looks like they got at least these two and one more, right, until they get the disconnect within this territory. So you're looking at maybe, what, an hour, hour and a half at the most until you have both sides of territory and doesn't look like any WGL. So maybe they just opted and kind of cut some of the losses, but it looks like this zone at the moment, right, momentum is going to NXW. Looks like they're going to end up getting it. Then let's go to Taiyun, or Taihua. This is the southwestern zone 2. This one is between ED and BNR. So we had a 60-40 split last time that looked like, I believe it was in favor of BNR that we looked at. And now we have ED. Now I'm actually 100% not sure on what side I did say before, but let's look at what's happening, because it does look like it's kind of 50-50. Maybe you could say it is a 60-40 BNR. Let's say they do have a little bit more territory that's spread out, but let's take a look and see how things are going here. So it looks like Langley's doing God's work right now, working that ED tower down. You do that, man. Hit that pickaxe. Let's see. Some action, nothing there. Oh, is this a build? Oh, never mind. So ED's destroying a tower right now. Probably not going to worry about that tower. No, because I don't know. Is that going to be connected? Let's see. Is this different? BNR? Okay, yeah. So that tower will be disconnected. I don't need to worry about that. Let's see over here. Oh, wow. So ED, building, destroying, 6.5 minutes on that bad grill left. Not doing anything else. Okay, so maybe ED's continuing some momentum now at the moment. So it looks like, man, we still got a fight happening in this zone too. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at 60-50. So here for this one, we have, I believe, 3. So we got 3 zone 2s that are seeing some action here. Again, we have, it's GEX, WER, and Dad. Hi, Dad. Versus TC, IR, and Lion. Rawr. So we have in Quemo, which is going to be the Northwestern Zone 2, we have GEX versus TC. Now, last time we checked, this was about a 60-40 split, and this was in favor of TC. Now it looks like they have continued that momentum, destroyed some more territory, and let's see what's happening here on the Spire area. So they are destroying a flag at about 22 minutes left on that. A couple people there doing some pushing. Let me see. I imagine they're probably trying to go for the back line here at this point. Build. Oh, wow. Did they just get a flag destroyed? Possibly there, it looked like maybe. They're working down this one as well in hour 16. So they just started a little while ago on that. Okay. So now it looks like this looks more like an 80-20, right? Where TC has extended their territory advantage. More momentum or continued momentum is still going in their favor. This looks like it probably is going to end up going to them, right? Unless we end up seeing some changes out on the field. Next, we're going to go to Tao Kwang, which is going to be WER versus IR. Now, when we last looked at this was about a 75-25, right? This was going in favor of WER, and you can see here that they have basically taken over the zone, and you could declare them the winners at this point, unless we see some massive pushback, right? They got the 1 territory space flag there, and have pretty much surrounded the pass, right? So again, good job for WER, taking the W, or at least we could say the soft W at the moment. Then we get to Swampy. Now, this is Lion versus Dad. Sucks that a tiger is going up against my father, but that's where we're at. So we have, again, we looked at this. It was a 60-40 split when we last looked at this, and this was going in favor of Lion. Now, it looks like my child and my Faja have been pushed back to the pass. Lion has now taken them on day 3 recap, and the zone 2 looks like it's pretty much over. Now, let's see. I don't know if there's anything happening. Always, okay to take a look just to see, but doesn't look like it. All right. So that rounds up our 60-50 recap. Let's go to 60-51. Feels like we're doing okay on time, but we'll see. So here for this one, we got RK3, GNR, LXV. They're going up against Seal, BB, and X. Now, we'll start with Chongli. This is going to be RK3 versus Seal. Last time we looked, it was about a 60-40 split. This was going in favor of Seal, and it looks like they've extended that. This looks to me like an 85-15, maybe a 90-10 even is probably more appropriate for them against RK. Let's see what's happening on the front lines. Doesn't look like any pushing happening there. Are they trying to destroy some territory? Ooh, look at that, dude. One person. Who is it? Shout you out. Boy Kwang Chua. Okay. I probably butchered that, but I tried. Let's see what's happening here. No more flag building. Okay, so maybe just kind of hanging out at the moment, but things keep going, or if they stay the way they are, it looks like Seal's going to take a W there in that zone too. Let's get over to Taekwondo. So, and this is like these are the secondary alliances. Oh, I see. So maybe RK3 opted to go over here and start going for BBF, or BB, right? Because BB was also fighting in Taiyun. So I wonder if they're fighting against each other now. Oh, they are. Damn. So now they're going hard. Because remember, BB was going up against GNR in Taiyun. Now it looks like RK has opted to say, okay, we're going to forget about that zone. Now let's go into Quemo and start taking over this. And that looks like what they're doing right now. Okay. So there we go. So BB looks like they're probably on the back burner at that point. Let's see how the Taiyun is going. Did they basically take this over? So GNR, interesting. So this was a 70-30 split. It looks like GNR, maybe it was in favor of GNR. So they've been able to push BB all the way back to the passes now. Wow. And so BB just said, okay, well now, since that fight's over with, I guess we're just going to go and fight as much as we can against RK. So at least they're getting a little bit more action there on that front. All right, let's go to Tahua. And here, this is going to be X versus LXV. Now, when we last looked at this, I believe, actually, I didn't. It's interesting. I did not write down a percentage at the time. So maybe they didn't have one or they were still building out at some point. However, if we look at things now, LXV looks like they clearly have the advantage. This looks to me like it's a 70-30. Maybe even we could say 75-25 in LXV's favor. Let's look at some of the battlefronts here. Top of the ramp. Doesn't look like any action going on there. But if we keep going up here, it looks like they're working their way around. Ooh, okay, so some flags are going down. 29 minutes on that one. Looks like they're also working this one down. An hour left on that bad grill. Are we attacking any other flags? Ooh, they are. So they're hitting a couple more over here as well that they have. Okay, so it is, I mean, it is a flag fiesta right now. All right, let's go to 60-52. Here for this group. This is an interesting group. So we have FA-HD FSK versus 14BS SHPZ and 1UP. Now, here, let's start with Chongli because we got two zones that are mainly seeing some action here, right? So you got FSK1. This is interesting because they weren't seeing anything here before, but now it looks like SHPZ is coming over to maybe fight against them because SHPZ was fighting against HD before, but there might have been, let's see here. I don't know exactly what's happening. So maybe it's light. Oh no. So, okay. So they're going at it. So FSK's there. Yo, where's my homie, dude? Where's my best friend? Where's my best friend? Where's my best friend? Kyle? Kyle, where you at, Kyle? Kyle? Okay, so we'll see. But they got some action going on. Let's go over to, again, Kwamo, right? This is 1UP. They're basically, so it looks like they have pretty much taken this over. I thought FSK was going to give them a little bit of action. But again, maybe they did, right? We didn't look at how the day 2 action played out. So maybe there was some fighting and 1UP was just able to push them back. Or maybe FSK didn't commit that much. That very well could have happened as well. Let's go over to the next one, which is going to be here in Yaoquang. This is FA versus 14BS. Now, when we last looked at this, it was about a 50-50. Now it looks like we have FA who's putting some pressure here on 14BS, and now this looks more like it's a 60-40 at this point, maybe 65-35. Let's see what's happening on the field. So 14BS just camping there on FA territory, or excuse me, I guess that is kind of their territory at the point, but looks like they're just kind of hanging out at the top right there. Doesn't look like any hard action happening unless we're just kind of doing some sporadic, like let's gather, hit. Okay. But again, they're still fighting it out, right? But no massive movement, but they're kind of holding at the top of the plateau there. One at the spire top of the ramp and the other at the southern top of the ramp chokes. So, but at least so far, it looks like they've made up some ground there. All right, let's look at the Swan P. This is HD versus SHPZ. Now remember, there was about a 70-30 split here from what we saw last. Let's see. So it looks like SHPZ has basically been pushed back. Wow. So HD doing some work here, pushing them all the way back. Territory's been removed. So that's probably why we saw SHPZ now readjust and come over to Chongli to fight against FSK. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at 60-53. We got 3 more groups now to take a look at, and then we will be Gucci. So let's look here. We got, for this one, RNW, -FU, SNIX, and then we got AVIC, Sura, and Beck. Now here in Chongli, right, we got 3 fighting zones. This was 50-50 when we last looked at it. And again, this was RNW versus AVIC. Now, as we're looking, it looks like nothing has really changed that much. I mean, maybe you could say AVIC has pushed up a little bit more territory-wise, so maybe it's like a 55-45. You could argue maybe 60-40. Let's see what's happening, though, on the battlefront. So, looks like AVIC pushing up, working the tower down a bit there. Looks like RNW still, again, fighting. Let's see, are we connected anywhere else? We're not, so it's mainly just there. And then, yeah, looks like we're doing some line. There you go, Trapjaw. Get that work in, man. When we see you. We see you doing work, all right? Don't let anyone say you don't contribute. You are a champion at the Ring Rocks, at what we can only imagine is probably a straw building, right, really. Okay, let's continue. We have Taiyun, which is going to be -FU versus Sura. Now, this was a 50-50 when we last looked at it. Sura, it looks like putting some pressure here on -FU. No, Snowman. But it looks like now it's pretty much a 90-10, right? Or an 85-15 from what we're looking at the moment. They are pretty much pushed them back to their passes. Doesn't look like we're seeing any additional pushing at the moment. So maybe they're just content with where they're at, right? There's nothing really further south unless, you want to go for this level 1 Citadel. But okay, Then we get to the third zone 2. This is going to be Taihua, and this is SNIX versus BEK. This was a 50-50 as well when we last looked at it on day 1. Now we're day 3. It kind of looks somewhat-ish about the same. I maybe would give Beck like the 60-40 or maybe the 55-35 at the moment, right? Because it looks like some territory has been made up. Looks like SNIX. Okay, so maybe that's either a repair going down for one that went, or they were able to work that down a little bit. Still action going on there on the pass. Let's see if there's anything down here. Nope. So it looks like focusing just the one ramp at the moment. Are they going for this level 2 Spire? No, so nothing's been touched there. Okay, so that rounds us out for 53. Now let's go to 54 here. So in 54, we have 05DK Law and GRZ. They're going up against SG97 Bear and Fate. Now, we got mainly 2 areas from when we last looked at. Changli, this is 05DK versus SG97. This was a 50-50 when we last looked at it. However, SG97 looks like they're now pushing up more in 05DK, and looks like it's a 65-35, maybe even a 70-30 in their favor. Let's see what's happening. So we got some 05DK peeps here. SG97. Okay, so it doesn't look like there's any additional hard pushing, unless maybe we're going north across the bridge. We're not. Okay, so things are kind of staled, at least at the moment. Let's go look at Quaimo. Now, this was a light enter from SG97 that we ended up seeing. And then you could see lock. So it doesn't look like anything's really happening there at that point. Next one we're going to look at here is going to be Taihua. And that's going to be all the way over here. Now, this one is Fate versus GRZ. It was a 50-50 when we last looked at it. However, now it looks like GRZ is basically at like a 90-10 or an 85-15 here, with basically pushing back Fate to their passes, are very close to it. I don't know if they're continuing to push. Doesn't look like there's any building. Got a bastion there. Strategically placed. Okay. They got the giant, but no additional pushing. So maybe they're just kind of content with where they are right now, having accomplished what they've needed to. But again, territory advantage in their favor. All right, last group we're going to look at is 60-55. And again, this is the 2v4 group that we have, right? So remember, this is VKG. They're going up against DK, S2AK, RP, and 262. Now, for the matchup that we're seeing, there's 2 zones we're seeing action in. First is going to be Changli. This is S2AK versus I. And let's see how that's going. Last one we looked at was 50-50. So let's see. So we got S2AK, I. Oh, interesting. So this is, wow, this is really interesting. So I's over here. Nothing's happening there. They're holding. Are they trying to come up here and just basically get a massive disconnect off on the tower? Oh my God. Oh my Lord. What has Tiny assembled here? Oh my God. Did someone name themselves Solimar? I'm so done. Oh, geez. That's wild. So they're working this flag down right now. Interesting. So I guess they just said, screw it at the level 2 Spire. They're going to go up here, disconnect, and then I imagine just beeline right for the fort, and then they don't have to worry about anything east. That's pretty nasty, man. And it looks like they have they got some good on-field presence for momentum, so we'll see how that plays out. Let's go to Taihua. This is the second group here. This is going to be DK versus VKG. When we last looked at this, it was a 50-50 split on territory. Now, it looks like VKG is pushing back DK, and now it looks more like an 80-20 going in their favor. Let's see here. No action at the level 2 Spire, hanging out. Let's see if we're getting some additional push. So we are. So we got 2 flags that are getting worked down right now. 6.5 minutes left on that one. VKG applying pressure here on this one. And that's about to get destroyed there in a moment. So this is pretty wild, man. I mean, you got I and VKG. VKG looks like, again, they are already pretty much winning this zone 2. And if I keeps up their momentum and they end up winning their zone 2 out, then they're going to win both zone 2s and be in a position to do some zone 3 invades and have some flexible option choices. I mean, listen, we did say it was a 2v4, and if you looked at the numbers, but keep in mind, 2v4 when we talk about this is like, how do the numbers look final zone? When you're looking at individual matchups here, that can be very different when it's a 1v1. And very much so, I think that's what's being proven right now, is that the 1v1 matchups are going to have and very well may have a heavy impact as it pertains to what the zone 3 may shape up and look like, and then, of course, how the final zone may end up playing out. But that rounds us out for 60-55. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed this recap. We tried to go a little bit faster this time around. And as always, right, let me know your favorite moments, favorite matchups, favorite pieces of action, anything that's been disappointing or you've really enjoyed watching. Let us know in the comments below. And that's going to do it for me. As always, until next time, we'll catch you later.